On Sun 969, it's time to talk all things electronics with Hunter from Alice Electronics, which is a J-Car specialist. They've got the phone hut next door. I popped in the phone hut yesterday and helped my friend buy some phone covers from a very ancient Samsung. But anyway, how are you today?
I'm good. We had some, did we?
You did, but
good.
you didn't have the ones we wanted, so we've ordered some in.
But the hard stuff, yeah. Look, I call that shop the bling shop.
It is a bit of a bling shop, isn't it?
It's got lots of bling for phones.
Even the technician, she's got, what do they call those things? The contacts in her eyes that make her look like she's got blue eyes.
Oh, no way.
So she's got a bit of bling on her eyes as well. She was lovely. Very helpful.
Oh, good.
But anyway, now we're going to talk about mesh networks today.
Yeah.
And you brought in some toys.
Yep, we did. And I mean, basically, communications here in Central Australia is pretty important.
Oh, yeah.
And
especially
it's good
out bush.
to know, especially out bush. And it's good to know what we can and can't do that's going to work pretty reliably. But also, too, I mean, we have been for years using the old CB radio as a backup. And that's great because it's voice. It gives us probably 5 to 10 Ks range. If we have a repeater like we do here in town on Channel 7, that gives us maybe 50 Ks range. But it's still kind of limited in the sense that we're limited to a geographical area. So what I wanted to bring in today and have a chat with is that there is a system that's sort of evolved over the last probably 5 years really. One's called Meshtastic and the other one's evolved over the last year. It's called Meshcore. Now they basically use the same hardware. One seems to be better for traffic, one seems to be better for facilities. So they're basically little radios, just like a CB radio. They only run about 0.2 of a watt, so about a fifth of a watt. And they're really inexpensive, maybe sort of $50, $200 at the most for a handheld one. So you see here, they kind of look like a little. One of them looks like a little BlackBerry.
Yeah, it does. It's got little text on it.
Yeah, and that's actually
buttons.
Believe it or not, that's actually what they call a paper screen. So it's a bit like the ebook readers.
Right.
So they're on all the time, but they don't flash up and light up or anything. So they're really good in sunlight. And then we got what they call little companion radios, which this one just looks like what would you say? It looks like a credit card.
Yeah, or a door pass.
A door pass. It's one of those ID passes.
Government building or something.
So that quite easily could hang off the back of your phone. Now they call it a companion radio because it's got Bluetooth. So it can talk to your phone and have the app on the phone just with Bluetooth. So you still don't necessarily need a network. It becomes the network. And then this guy uses what they call LoRa radio, which is about 915 megs, to contact, and it's a free channel, so we don't have to pay ongoings. There's no thing there. So that would then contact a repeater, and this guy here is like a homemade repeater. It's just a solar cell, little radio in it, probably an 18650 battery, 18650 battery, and that would get you coverage of about the same as a CB, a decent CB, so about 15 kilometres.
What would you call that, a whip antenna on the top of it?
Just a little quarter wave antenna, what we call, and that would get, as long as it's in a nice high spot.
Yep.
We're getting really good range of some of them.
And is that solar as well, is it?
Yeah, so it never needs charging.
So you can just put it out somewhere.
As long as it's getting the sun and we don't get too many days of rain. In fact, I think that goes for 3 days without solar, with that battery. Okay. That's how efficient they are. So as long as you get one decent day of solar, it'll last 3 or 4 days without. Right. So, the usual rain band that we have here, this would be perfect,
It's fine here.
And Brucey's given me a couple other ones. This is one of his little homemade ones. So that's a bigger cell with the little radio in there, and same deal. And he's put a larger Wi-Fi antenna on there, a Bluetooth antenna, so he can pick it up from his phone. So this could be outside, and you could pick it up from the inside.
Oh, right.
So that one's one he's made up that's ready to deploy. So we've been working together, 2 or 3 of us, to get a certain amount of repeaters across the town. So the more repeaters, the better influx you get, just like a mobile phone. You'll get better influx into it.
So you're effectively making your own cell network, aren't you?
And hence mesh. And mesh is the word. So it's making a mesh up, and it's the same idea as a cell network, but we're not using 100-watt transmitters. We're only using fifth of the watt. Yeah. So the energy efficiency is just right up there. Still getting pretty good, but it's text only. Okay, so
that was what I was surprised about. So it's not capable of sending voice.
Not quite.
But it can do text, and it can do it for something like 12 kilometres or something.
Yeah, per hop. per repeater. So if the repeaters are up and got good visual between each other, in fact, in Victoria and New South Wales, they've actually got a network there that goes 1,000 kilometres.
Wow!
So they've got just in the right spots, and you might want to bring it up. If anyone wants to look at Meshtastic Victoria, it's probably one of the first links that come up on the Google. You'll see there they've actually got a hop between the other. I think it's Newcastle, right down to the Great Ocean Road.
Wow.
On that, sort of 45 degrees. They've maxed out a hop there, and I think it's one of the biggest in the planet.
Very clever.
Very
and
clever.
it's all around the cities too. Bruce was telling me that we've got them in all the capital cities have a huge network of it, so you can pretty much do whatever you want in the city.
And this is the people's network. Like, there's no government running this. There's no,
it's pretty clever, right?
Talk about free speech.
Well, there's no speech on it. But free text,
free
anyway.
texting anyway. Well,
text what you think. Say what you think.
People can get creative with text. I mean, let's face it.
So what's the benefits if you're going out bush? What's the benefit of a network like
so
this?
you can still use them like a walkie-talkie. You don't have to have the mesh there, especially with Meshtastic. You don't have to have the mesh. You can still be maybe 2 or 3, 4 kilometres apart. If you're outside, it'll work fine.
And is that for audio?
No,
still text.
Just text,
okay.
just text. So we've got a solution for audio. It's called CB. So go and buy CBs if you want audio.
Yeah.
We don't want to. We don't want to encroach on that. But this stuff is more about having it's your own personal stuff. It's simple enough that you could build it yourself, even the layman. But techy enough that there's a bit of in electronics we call the RF the black art of electronics, right? So there's a little bit of trickiness because you got to imagine this stuff, right? You can't see it. It's not like sunlight or other stuff where you can see and visualize or hear like audio. You've got to actually and you can use tools to visualize it, of course, like scanners and stuff like that. But it really is a bit tricky sometimes. So like in an environment like this, we've got a metal building. It's going to be hard to get out of Faraday's cage effect. Etc. But if you've got, if you're outside, and hence, the comm side of it, so you'd have one of these, like this guy here with the magnets, it's just designed to click on a car.
Yeah, right.
For instance, or at a pole or up a tower.
So you could leave it on your car while you're driving, would you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, again, it's not going to be perfect because it's, the network's not strong enough at the moment. But we've actually got sort of 5 or 6 repeaters around town now. Okay. We've built up in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. So anyone that wants to try, obviously they'll need the radio to get on the network.
Yep.
But to get on the network is free. There's no costing there, and that's the whole point. Like I said, we're not going to be sending photos. We're not going to be sending. It's just simple text.
Yep.
However, the other layer of this is that these can also be used for control systems. Now, I don't know whether Brucey run this past you. I didn't run it past next door there because it's a whole nother level. So these have what they call GPIOs, which is general input-output pins. GPIOs, some general pin input-output.
So effectively what you're saying is you could turn things on and off.
Correct, or even higher than that. You could have a weather station right out there and then like miles away and say, okay, I can pick up the weather information and then bring it back to here and bring it up and have like a weather report, a bit like the airports do. You could have a weather report every 5 minutes, for instance, and it'll come up as a text. So it's a bit more than just text, right? So I guess we have to think a little bit laterally on how we can use this thing. One of our members is thinking about rabbit traps. Just saying. Okay. So it's nice to know that the little bunny's there, caught in the rabbit trap before he gets too distressed. We can make sure we can go and get him, for instance.
Sounds good.
There's an example. I don't know what other examples. The examples are only limited to your mind's thing, right? So, but alarm systems, say, for instance, if you have a roller door open and you forgot it, you could have a little a unit on that to say, hey, you've left your roller door open after 5 minutes. You could program that to do it. And that's getting into the nitty-gritty stuff. But it's a whole nother level. All
right, so if people want to find out more about that.
Yeah, we're talking about it at the shop. I'll make sure I'll try and get a few radios in at Alistronics. So how to play. I've certainly got the demo radios, and that's why I guess we've spent the last sort of 3 months to test it out, to work it. I guess we could call this an unofficial release, but it's happening anyway. Like so I know I've been approached by a lot of people. That's how I kind of got onto it. So a few people in town, the techie guys, hey, you heard about this Meshtastic? It's like, okay, let's have a look into it. And it's like, it's really, really taken on because it's a community-based free project. Yeah. It's just gone off, and I mean, once you start looking for it, you'll see it. Again, typical internet way of doing things, but you'll see that a lot of people, especially down south, have taken it on. I don't think there's much over the west. We're probably the first ones in the territory to take it on. There might be something up in Darwin, but not a lot. Anyway, it'll be, the good thing is there is a backbone through the internet. So from here, if we set up one of the meshes, we could actually talk to other bits of the world or text to other bits of the world. I use the wrong terminology. So we could actually use the internet as a backbone. But when the zombie apocalypse comes, right, we might not have that internet barrier, but at least we could talk between ourselves, you know?
Well, I'm going to be in a zombie apocalypse if we don't wrap this up now.
Okay,
so
mate. Okay,
we better move now. Just mention Link, you've got Starlink in store.
So the other end of the spectrum is Starlink, okay? And, of course, that does cost money because, you know, he's got to make his billion somehow. Yeah. And but really good technology. What's happening there, though, the interesting stuff is they are working on this, what they call DTC, which is where the Starlink satellites will talk to a standard cell phone. Right. And they are giving another chipset in the cell phone to actually make it even better. So the more modern mobile phones will be even better for this. But right now, if you do go out bush, you might notice for an SOS, they actually say SOS SAT.
Yeah,
that means you've actually got coverage from Starlink to at least make an SOS call or text. Right, so that's under, you know, they're testing it at the moment. Same thing as what we're doing. We're testing our things. So right now, but probably over the next few years, because at the moment he's launching up his version, what they call version 3 satellites, which will support this a lot better. You will have the ability to make phone calls out there. You might still have to be outside, right, like a sat phone, but way cheaper than a sat phone. Like, I'm sorry, sat phone guys, your time is done. Yeah. You know, if this technology takes off. Now you still have your Starlink dishes, which is what we sell at the moment, and all the accessories to put on a car, so you can go down the highway, still be listening to your 8HA online or whatever, or Sun FM online. So you can still do that now. So that's still a great technology, and that's $80 a month. You know, it's quite reasonable. Your kit, though, you're probably looking $600 or $800 to sort of kit yourself out for the car, but that's way cheaper than a sat phone.
So you've got all that in stock at the moment?
Yeah, we've been selling that for a few years now, really. But that's the other end of the spectrum. So I just want to understand, like, there's a whole heap of stuff in between for communications, and it's really important out here to make sure people die out there when they can't get the word out. So, it's important to have that communication.
Oh, yes. Safety is everything.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
We've been chatting to Hunter, and Hunter's from Alice Tronics, the J-Car specialist, and they've got the phone hut next door as well.